Hello, SKMB family again, and I have the pleasure of having Elton DaSilva, our national director, with us here all the way from frosty Winnipeg. And so, Elton, Happy New Year to you. And I think we should try to make this tradition where you're the first person I interview every January.
Well, that sounds good. That's starting the year right, I would say. Well, happy New Year to you, Phil, and to the Saskatchewan MB family of churches.
Great, great. So I have a couple of questions for you, and just give you the freedom to speak to us as a conference. And thank you in advance for doing this for us.
My
So
pleasure.
the first question I have is like Elton, how are you feeling about 2023? 2022 was a rough year on many fronts for us as a denomination. How are you feeling about 2023?
Well, I think this is a very important year for us. I think is a there are many things that began to move in 2022 that I think we're going to see progress in 2023. The focus on leadership development and mission, those things that are just in the beginning of this development. I think that now in 2023 we're going to hear some good things out of it. So I'm excited about it. Uh, I think also, well, regardless of anything, God is on a move and God is in control. We know that. I think that coming out of the pandemic, there was all kinds of uneasiness, all kinds of uncertainty. I think that God has speaking to a lot of our leaders. There are changes. There is a deeper connection with God in a lot of our leaders' lives that happened over the pandemic. It was like there was this interruption of the normal, and because there was an interruption of the normal, people were seeking the Lord, and God was speaking to them. So I'm excited to see what happens with our churches. Um, Phil, we are beginning to explore this whole area of disciple making, discipleship in a more profound way, and how it leads into the development of leaders for the future of our family of churches. Um, I think that we also began to see in 2022 a greater connection between us across the country. There was a we've been working slowly towards it, but in 2022, at the end of 2022, we began to notice that people were talking to each other. I was part of the Saskatchewan, Alberta pastors retreat,
Mhm.
and what a joy that was, and you couldn't think that wouldn't happen, wouldn't ago. It was just a rare thing to see, but we see this connection happening across the country. So I'm excited about 2023.
Yeah, excellent, excellent. So, like, obviously, there's some big rocks, right? There's probably a lot of pebbles that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis nationally. But what are some big rocks that we've got to move this year?
I think this whole area of human sexuality is a big one. I think that we continue to be pushed in many different ways by a number of people who are exploring different ways of viewing human sexuality and homosexuality as well, and trying to see it from a very different theological lenses than we have seen in the past. So I think clarity in that area will be something that will continue to happen in 2023, because we're going to continue to be pushed on those things. So our National Faith and Life team is working hard, at developing, clear guidelines for churches, exploring better ways of explaining our position, our theological position, and so I think that that's a big rock that we are going to be facing. I will say to you, Phil, you wrote an article last year for the MB Herald that I think was really, really an eye opener moment for me. I think you called it "The Church Distracted." I think that was the name of the article, and because I was thinking exactly that. I think that we have so many things that are actually taking our energy and distracting us from the mission that God has put in front of us, and we are now looking and engaging on the side here instead of moving forward.
Yeah.
And my hope is that even though we are dealing with these things, theological things, sociological things, even financial things, that are the bulk of our energy is redirected to the mission that God has called us to. Only by being on mission is that only by being occupied with the mission is that the things in the periphery becomes less important. So I hope we don't continue to be distracted by things like that. We got to give some attention to it. We got to take care of the business at hand, but the main focus needs to be on the mission that God has called the church.
Amen.
So
I
yeah,
like that. I like that. I think here provincially we have talked a lot about distractions, and some you have to deal with. Some are trellis issues, but you want to be about the vine issues
right.
and not neglect that. So thank you. So Elton, how can we as a provincial conference support you and support the national conference in its work?
Well, I think you already have, and you are, and I think this is just going to increase. My hope, Phil, for Saskatchewan and then beyond Saskatchewan is that we see ourselves as one.
Mm,
That we see ourselves in the same mission, serving the same Lord, and He called us to the same family of churches, and that we look at how we can resource one another the best way that we can. The reality is that if you look across the country, many of the pastors that are pastoring across the country came out of Saskatchewan. They were Saskatchewan people who
mm.
have been, who been indoctrinated and trained under the difficult Saskatchewan winters, and so they go anywhere and they can adapt and they can be of service. So Saskatchewan is an important province. I think there's a unity in the churches in Saskatchewan it's rare beyond Saskatchewan. I think the churches in Saskatchewan tend to see themselves as connected and loving and caring. You can see when you get together, it's like a family reunion. It really feels like a family reunion. And I wish that the rest of the country can actually get that from you, that kind of feel and sentiment. So how can you support us? Let's do it together. Whatever we do it, let's do it together. If there's something that God is giving you, share with us, share with the rest of the country, because um, we are on the same mission.
Mm. Amen. Amen. So what are some things that specifically for you as our national leader and for our denomination that we can, kind of throughout the whole year be praying toward and praying for?
But let's pray that, first of all, for a deeper presence of God's Spirit among us, for myself, and then for our leaders. We don't want leaders that will lead from here. We want leaders who will lead from here, like
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
where the heart of God is in their heart, and they are leading from that. So this deep presence of God in their lives that will just flow into the ministries that they do. I think that will be something that we need to pray for. So and pray for me that as well. I think, as your article says, sometimes I get distracted. There's so much administrative stuff and so many things that you got to do in a day to day that you kind of forget, or this connection with God gets put aside.
Mhm.
And so pray that I don't neglect that, and that if I serve this family of churches, it needs to come from the heart of God and not from my heart. So
Mm.
that's one thing. I think we need to also pray that the Spirit of God will actually work to clarify biblical truth to us. I am concerned for some leaders and how they have bypassed the authority of the Bible Yeah, and the authority of the Bible in a few, not many, but a few of our leaders have just diminished, and because the Bible doesn't have the same authority as when, for some they are able to make these theological gymnastics to actually allow for some very different theological perspectives. So I I want to pray that God's Spirit will work in us, that we can go back to the Word and actually give the Word the importance that it needs.
Mm.
So pray for that. Pray for good preaching in our congregations, in our churches. I think our churches need a good, solid preaching that is not superficial, but it calls people to a deeper understanding of the Bible. Like,
Yeah.
what is God saying, and how is God saying, what's God's will, and calls them to that, and calls them to a discipleship that is sacrificial. This is, discipleship and mission are the foundation of our background. So we need to go back to that. This very sacrificial discipleship is how this family of church was founded, and I think we need to go back to that.
Yeah.
So pray for that as well.
Okay. Well, Elton, thank you, and we'll most definitely will be praying for those things that you shared with us. And again, my friend, thank you for taking the time to join us as we start our year. God bless you and make you an incredible blessing as you continue to lead us so faithfully. So thank you for now.
Well, thank you, Phil, and blessings to you and to your ministry and to all of our Saskatchewan churches.
Thank you.